The greatest trick scam. How to avoid. Freelance translators have to deal with a few scams that keep cropping up over and over again in our industry. Whether you're a freelance translation professional or in some other business, there are always a few common scams that particularly target freelancers, and it pays to be aware of them. Knowledge is the power after all, and while knowing these basics may not necessarily protect you from all possible scams, it will at least give you some basics to rely on when making decisions. The most common types of scams. CV stealing. Before you start translating, you never really understand the motive behind this one. How it works. You post your CV online, either on your webpage on a translation forum, or you pass your CV to a scumbag translation agency. Then some dirtbag sees your CV, likes what's in it, and then copies it. He then changes your contact information to his own, while leaving your name, and then uses it to get translation work. He'll usually do a crappy job, since he doesn't have enough credentials to write his own dumb CV. And then you get screwed because your name and reputation as a translator is associated with garbage translation work. The same thing happens when a bad translation agency steals your CV. The company will solicit work based on your CV, try to get paid while doing crappy translation work, and then screw you out of potential jobs down the road when your name is associated with bad work. Either way, you get screwed. The overpayment scam. This is a fairly common scam in many spheres, but increasingly found in the freelance world. You get hired to do some translation work. The client, almost always overseas, surprisingly sends payment in full in advance, except the check you receive is for a larger amount than the price you negotiated. No worries, says the client. Rather than bother with cancelling a check, just cash it and send them a refund of the overage. You might guess the check is rubber, and when the bank finds out, you'll be out the change you refunded. Never fall for this one. The special tool. Another common freelance scam in the translation world is the ideal project with the high rate, the easy schedule, and the friendly client. The only catch? The work requires a special piece of software you will have to buy and install, with either a promise of reimbursement when the job is completed, or the promise of much more work to come, justifying the investment. You are sometimes offered a discount code of some sort. What's happening is that the client's real business is based on selling that software, so they induce folks like you to buy copies to enrich themselves and then disappear. Or sometimes the software is infected with viruses or Trojans that give them control of your computer, which is much worse. The farm out. This one is harder to detect. You are hired to work on a project, and simply put, you are never paid. The client is actually a Fox agency that takes on translation projects, finds freelancers to do the work, collects the fee for the finished project, and never pays the freelancers. Your only defense is to be very skeptical of clients who can't provide any sort of references, who have appeared from nowhere with third-party projects. The question arises here: how to minimize the possibility of being scammed? Below are some effective methods. First, website verification. A website can tell a lot about the professionalism of a company. Nowadays, it is fairly easy to set up a professionally looking website using one of the website templates provided by the countless website hosting companies. And yet, there are many translation agencies out there that present themselves on a website that looks like it was made within 30 minutes. Stay away from those websites. A serious website usually offers the following: contact information like an email address and a phone number. If the company uses an email address like example @gmail.com or yahoo.com, it cannot be considered a well-established serious company. A professional layout of company must be free of grammar and spelling mistakes. It uses professional, high-quality pictures. You can find information about the company like its location and its legal form. Second, Blue Board on Proz. Prozet is an online community of professional translators where you can find and outsource translation jobs. It is one of the biggest translation communities on the internet and can definitely help you to find the jobs you are looking for. On this website, you will find the famous Blue Board, on which translators can evaluate clients and translation agencies based on their experience with them. It is very useful to find out whether your client has a good reputation regarding the punctuality of payments and his general professionalism. Third, special payment agreements. If you don't want to risk not getting paid in the end, it makes sense to accept only a small job to begin with or ask for stage payments and wait for the payment before you start working on the next phase. Some agencies might even agree to advance payments. Those are usually the bigger ones, though, and it has to be said that advance payments are not very common in the translation industry. Fourth, careful with foreign translation agencies. It can be said that if you work for a foreign translation agency, the laws and regulations are different from your home country, and it might not be easy to take legal action against the client. However, if you follow all other advice I've given in this article, working for a foreign client does not pose problem at all. As a matter of fact, most of my clients and the agencies I work for are located in a foreign country. Fifth, purchase orders. The issuances of purchase orders are a standard procedure of many translation agencies. Ask for a purchase order before you begin with an assignment and verify the contact information. 6. Background check with Google. The common fact is that Google is the most powerful tool on the planet. If you want to find information about a specific agency or client, Google will most definitely give it to you. Forums and communities often write about scams and the names of agencies you should avoid. 7. Translation tests. The serious translation agencies usually require doing a translation test prior to outsourcing any work to you. If an agency ever contacts you and expects you to take on a translation right away, you have the right to be suspicious. Translation tests that consist of tasks where you have to translate approximately 300 words within a given time are a standard procedure and are to be considered as positive for the agency or client's reputation. 8. Payment procedure. Usually, serious translation agencies ask you about your rates and will negotiate a rate with you depending on your skills and experience. In addition, you should ask about the agency's payment procedure if they do not already talk about this in their emails. The payment procedure includes payment deadline. The standard is 30 to 45 days after the translation has been submitted. Method of payment: PayPal, wire transfer, checks or some other, and invoicing rules. 9. Quality of communication. You can often see by the quality of the communication with the client or agency if you can take them seriously. You should pay attention to their email signature, the number of mistakes they make when they write to you, how long it takes for them to answer your emails, and the tone of the emails. If you have doubts, calling the client agency is not a bad idea. This will give you the chance to get to know the client and get rid of any uncertainties or doubts you may have. This list is not complete. Perhaps you personally will find your own way to deal or not to deal with scammers in order not to be screwed by them. In the end, everyone falls for a scam or two in their lives. It's almost unavoidable, but paying attention and not being greedy can protect you.